Hey everybody, Robot here from Vespa Motorsport and ScooterWest.com. So this is a little different today, not my how-to video. Today I got a special guest, Corrie Vaus. She's been working diligently on the Big Scoot documentary that's about the scooter cannonball that I'm a big fan of. I've never participated, but maybe someday. But you can also participate by just watching this documentary and eventually the movie. So what was your motivation for creating this documentary? Other than your husband was entering.
There you go.
Yeah,
it starts with that,
other
right?
than that.
Yeah, other than that.
Yeah.
So he comes here.
The Vespa
and he comes home
Motorsport.
with a Vespa, right?
Uh-huh.
With your guidance and help. And he falls in love with this thing. I think he loves it more than me. Okay, it's close anyway. So he, within a very short time, he learns about a forum and he learns about Scooter Cannonball. And he starts talking to me about, can you imagine this, riding coast to coast over 8 to 10 days, over 3,000 miles on the back roads of America? And I'm like, that's amazing. Would you really do that? And who does that? And over the period of time, he got more educated. I got educated. And when he decided, yes, I'm doing this, I'm a video journalist. I have been for decades. And I thought, I wonder if I could document this. Is it possible to maybe put something together and tell this story? And that's how it all got started. When it started in 2004, there were 9 riders. This time there were 181 when you talk about growth. That says a lot about the vibrancy of the scooter community, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
And the desire to do this event or take it on.
And it's quite the eclectic crowd of participants as well.
Well, it really is. I mean, from all backgrounds and kind. Like, if there's one common denominator, it's this kindness of the community, no matter where they come from, men, women, all different ages, right? Different parts of the world, different political backgrounds, all of that gets put aside. And it's about riding scooters and cheering one another on.
So Corrie, what's your background? I know it's videography or documentaries.
Yeah, it goes way, 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 way back. I graduated with a degree in journalism from the University of Colorado. And from that day forward, I've pretty much had a camera in my hand. I started as a news reporter, but my passion is storytelling, and that meant actually operating the camera, learning how to edit, and being out in the field constantly. So that's what I've done over the years for different news stations. And then in 2013, I went solo. I'm a one-woman band. I started my own business, and I have a number of clients where I tell their stories. I show what they do. Most of them are nonprofits.
Okay.
So things about human trafficking, domestic violence, San Diego Harbor Police, what they do, those kinds of things. So as a documentarian, the Scooter Cannonball seemed very possible to me. Like, maybe I have the equipment and the tools and the experience to do this. And you know, there are 2 other documentaries that are quite popular. And really what they did is they profile riders that are along on the event. They don't really take a look at other riders, and they don't acknowledge the organizers that put it on and make it happen. And I felt that if I was going to do this, I wanted to salute the effort, the people behind the scenes that are so passionate about this, that make it a reality, right? It's tireless work to put this on every year. And I wanted to give them a shout out. In addition to that, I wanted the riders, kind of all of the riders, to tell their story. Like, what is the camaraderie? What's the wrenching that goes on? What are the challenges to make it from the start to the finish? And not just focused on a couple riders, but kind of the whole, if you will. So this documentary, The Big Scoot, is really about the Scooter Cannonball. I think someone who's thinking about, could I do this? Do I want to do this? I think they'll watch this documentary and it will really help them answer that question for themselves. So I think a lot of people look at scooters and they're like, how cute. And then the beep, you add the beep beep, and people ride by and it's so charming, and gosh, maybe I want one. Well, the Scooter Cannonball seems like that times a million, right? How wonderful is that? Okay, so the end of day one, I'm like, this is serious. I saw people get hurt. I saw a lot of breakdowns. There are scooters that are not ready to do this. There are people that are not mentally ready to do this thing. I'm worried about my husband actually getting to the finish safely. It was a wake-up call for me, and that was at the end of day one.
Absolutely. I didn't participate in the scooter cannonball, but I kind of did a little tag along. There's a couple past videos on our channel that I think I covered a little bit of it, but even on the first day, there was some extreme
Mishaps.
mishaps, environmental, in the heat. That was pretty extreme later in the day.
One of the people that I interview, two of the people are Scott and Julie Taggart, and they're very serious. And Julie Taggart said it beautifully. She said, anything can happen out there. She said weather, wildlife, the road conditions, breakdowns, injuries, and she was absolutely right about that. And I kind of laughed when she said it in the interview. It's like, yeah, no, not really, but she was absolutely right. Anything can happen around there, around any corner, and it often does.
Yep.
Right? And I have to mention, you're in the documentary. You're a celebrity, you're so wise and experienced, and you provide just wonderful content, like the voice of reality. And you talk about what it's like to ride in 113-degree heat. It's beautiful. And you talk about what the toll on scooters that this is taking when you're riding 400 miles a day. So thank you for that input and that really important perspective that you provide in the documentary.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate
I was happy
just
to
being
be,
you,
just being
Just
myself.
you being
Unfortunately, I didn't want to give up 8 days of my life to go cross country on a scooter. I've done some of my own personal crazy trips in Mexico and Europe, but maybe this next one in 2025, it's going Seaside, Oregon, which I know somebody opened a coffee shop that originally was in San Diego there. So I'm trying to get him involved, and then down to Texas. And that, I'm not discounting it, but it sounds a little shorter, so maybe more doable.
It's going this way instead of that
So I'm
way.
excited about 2025 Cannonball. The scooter Cannonball, maybe you're not a scooter head, but if they have it well documented on what the rules are. I mean, you can't ride like one of those big maxi scooters or like super scooters, like 650 big Bergman thing or whatever. I'm not really into those, as you could tell. But something like the Honda Grom kind of falls within that category. So you can actually participate with kind of some of those mini motorcycles that shift gears and all that fun stuff, or maybe you could be a real tough guy and ride a vintage bike. No one does that anymore in the Cannonball, but that's what it all started
There was
with.
a guy out there on a two-stroke.
Yeah, they don't
I
last
didn't
long.
even know what a two-stroke was. And then there was a bunch of 5 or 6 people on those little Honda Monkeys.
Uh-huh.
How can you do that?
Yeah.
I have a shot where one goes through a frame, it's like, yeah, gone, like a bug. So
Yeah,
cute.
and then the vintage Vespas, it's like I looked at, I used to prep a vintage Vespa for the Cannonball, and it was just a stock 200cc, and it would make it every year, actually.
It would make it?
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Is that on your resume? Should be.
I don't know, it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somehow we kind of cheated because we started with a brand new motor, but it was a vintage motor, so
That counts.
yeah, it's like when you're piecing together 50-year-old technology.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Well, yeah, and the number of belts that I learned so much
Oh, yeah.
about scooter parts and things like that. And there were riders who didn't know a lot, and riders who did know a lot. And the riders who knew a lot would help the riders who didn't. But there was an encouragement to come prepared. Know how to change your own oil, right? Know how to change the belt and that kind of thing. And the whole part about fuel. Do you carry extra fuel with you? Do you know which gas stations are open along the way? That's another part of it too, a big challenge.
That's where scooters, a lot of people don't think about that. That's where the handicap, when you're doing long distance, high speed travel on a scooter, that's where they start falling apart a lot more. I mean, you can hop on a 1100cc motorcycle with fresh tires and it's going to make it in New York, no problem. But a scooter, you got that tiny 10 or 12 inch tire, you know, turning at some ungodly RPMs. It's like the equivalent of like a car tire probably doing 150 miles an hour. And it's going to wear out a lot quicker than you think, halfway across the country, even if you start with a new one. Same with the drive belts. They don't last as long as the manufacturer claims. And then the gas capacity. Yeah, you might think it gets 60 miles a gallon. Well, you're riding at full throttle and it only holds 1.5 gallons. So there, you kind of know how far it's going to go.
And that gas station you were counting on, oh, that's not open anymore.
Yeah. So there's so much more to it than a lot of people think.
And the navigation. Okay, that's a whole part of it, because the organizers provide a route, but that doesn't mean that your GPS is going to be. There were lots of people who got lost, lots of U-turns. A huge part of Scooter Cannonball is getting from point A to B without getting lost for 2 or 3 hours.
And you think you're going to rely on that phone on that hot day? No, the phone just shuts down. So, All right, so you know what 113 degrees and riding a scooter looks like? Well, check out the first clip that we got right here, and you could see what it's all about.
100 miles to the next service station, so I had to cap off.
And then it's a straight shot, all desert, all the way to Lake Havasu, Arizona.
It was hot. I mean, it was hot. And they're fast roads, so we're having to run 65, 70 miles an hour. And that's hard on the scooters. It's hard on the riders, too.
If you're riding at 60 miles an hour through 105-degree heat, it's just like a nonstop hairdryer. You're just getting the relentless pounding of hot wind.
It is so frickin' hot. Ugh.
So staying hydrated, staying cool is like your #1 concern in a situation like that, especially that dry desert heat. So, I don't know, let's check out this mountain clip.
Yeah, so imagine being on a dirt road coming down, right? And I didn't know this, but scooters aren't necessarily great on gravel, dirt, rutted, sandy roads. And these riders were worried about it.
They were scared, so let's check out the clip.
This 8-mile stretch was really more like a 9-mile stretch. Rutted, sandy, washed out in places.
My training wheels down here. Yeah, oh my God.
This is awful.
My strategy was to keep the shiny side up, to not fall. I went as slow as I had to, probably 15 miles an hour at some points, but it was probably the highlight so far.
Well, thanks for those sneak peeks into the documentary. They're so excellent.
Oh, thank you.
So tell me a little bit about what's your motivation to start a Kickstarter campaign. So if you're not familiar with a Kickstart, there's also another platform, I forgot what it's called, but it's a crowdfunding, so pretty much it allows the public to invest into small projects. And it could be like a material project or something like a documentary. I know a lot of times there would be maybe a toy or a product, engineering solution. That's what I've mostly looked at Kickstarter in the past for, but Corrie had the great idea to fund you know, most of the hard work that she needs to do in post-production and editing to put this documentary together by crowdfunding it with the Kickstarter. So tell me a little bit about it.
It's interesting because my gear, my equipment that I have, really nice camera, really nice drone, microphone, all of that, my hours, I stopped counting at 250, donated, right? That goes to this. I believe in this project. Where it gets a little tougher, the hard costs. And those includes the things that are gonna make this just really the polish on the whole thing. And that comes into a colorist. That's beyond my pay grade. I don't really do that when you have multiple cameras and you want a consistent look, right? So hiring a colorist, a sound designer, so that the audio of those scooters moves from left to right the way that it should. And those little intricacies that are so important and that we're used to seeing on high quality productions. And then in addition to that, music licensing. So there is wonderful music throughout this that I've selected and love, but I have to get a license for that or get sued. So I've decided to go ahead and get those licenses. So those are hard costs that would come out of pocket. And that's where I talked to Steve and we said, let's ask the scooter community, let's ask people who believe in creative projects to maybe help with this. And that's how this whole thing was born. And thank you to you all for being presenting sponsors, which is so exciting to me and incredibly meaningful. And then people can contribute as little as $1, $10, $50, get someone's name in the credit. We have a cool poster. I mean, there's all kinds of things and opportunities and incentives to be a part of it. Mostly, the way I look at this, honestly, is this is way bigger than me. This is told by the writers and the organizers. I'm just the messenger. And so this is about Scooter Cannonball that has existed, like I said, from 2004, and all the people have been a part of it since then. I see this as a community project. And that's really the way I'm looking at it. And so far, the support from you guys and others has been just really heartwarming and enthusiastic. And I'm so, okay, I'm gonna get emotional here. Like, it's really meaningful to me, you know, to pour in and believe in something and want to document something that's really positive, that's really good at a time that I believe our world needs things like this, that show people coming together, right?
Yeah.
So that's the motivation for it.
When I first logged in, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool, all the different levels. And you have beautifully done art for the stickers and the posters, so that's a pretty cool little piece of swag that you get back, as a little bit you get back for the huge contribution you make towards the video. Then everything from the most basic contribution to the big sponsors, which are like shops like us and Vespa Portland. So they're gonna have their names on the video. There's still room if you're a shop, you know, that's big. Maybe, you know, people that aren't into scooters watch this video and it sparks the interest, you know.
I've shown parts of it to a couple people who aren't scooter people, and they've loved it. Because in addition to the scooters, there's the people part of it. Like people who set goals for themselves, or it's their passion, right? They're characters, if you will, like really good people and good stories. And so, yeah, I don't think you have to be a scooter lover to find this documentary enjoyable.
Oh, that's a good perspective. And I don't know, it's the same thing. Even I watch content that's like so outside my realm, and it's very interesting. So
Right, exactly.
I see, yeah.
Exactly. If you care about the people who are in it, that makes a difference. And I think the people who are in this documentary, you come to care about. You find yourself rooting them on for whatever reason. And there are a lot of different reasons. Like somebody crashed in, Crazy Carl crashed in 2021. This is his redemption tour. Like he wants to make it to the end. That's his motivation. You know, somebody else, Bill Luthold, a friend that he was going to ride with in Scooter Cannonball, his fourth Scooter Cannonball, passed away. And his request to Bill was, would you ride my scooter?
Wow.
Scooter Cannonball. And Bill's riding that scooter, and he just wants to get to the end successfully. So there are those kinds of heartwarming stories throughout the whole thing.
So what's your background? Here you got some Emmys, and I don't know. I like to humble myself, and I know you do too as well.
I know, I'm really uncomfortable talking about that. Over my career, I earned 16 Emmys for storytelling and 9 Golden Mics. And so that, I think, is an indication of just how much I love putting people in the spotlight and sharing their story. And I continue to do that, and I think I'll always continue to do that. And the Big Scoot falls right into that category. So I was really doing what I love and have done for decades. And so May 10th is the final day to jump in and support this project. It's coming fast.
Yeah, this video coming out is probably a week left, 2 weeks maybe, depending on how quick we get up there. So pretty exciting. And if you go to the description of this YouTube video, you can find how to find a Kickstarter. But I found Google's pretty good. Just type the Big Scoot Kickstarter, or you can go to, what was the website for the big?
Yeah, thebigscoot.com. And what I always do is go to Kickstarter, and then there's a search bar, and I put in the Big Scoot, and it pops right up. That's probably the easiest way to find it. And all of this, every penny is going to go toward this production, and just making it better and better. And that's the part that's so exciting about it, I think, is that every donation is like, oh, this is going to be even a little bit better.
Keep posted to our YouTube channel. I'll probably post more updates as the time comes, and I'll see you on the next one. Robot here from Vespa Motorsport and ScooterWest.com. Thanks again, Corrie.
Thank you, Robot. Thanks, everybody.